Mirror, mirror on the wall, who lost the most skill rating of them all? In the last skill squish, I mean. Was it me? It was me, wasn't it? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. We're going to talk about 5v5 teams, folks, hopefully a little more approachable teams available here on my alternate account. It's a 7.6 million account, so I realize that some people are still going to be a little out of their depth when looking at it, though. Probably the mitigating circumstances here, though, is I only have 2 Galactic Legends, and the teams that I build have been good enough to get me into Kyber 1. Every once in a while I make a brief foray into it, and then I get beat down a little bit, but I do pretty well with this account, and I have been living in Kyber 2 for a very long time, which means I'm facing people consistently with 6 GLs. I'll probably start facing people with 7 here pretty soon, actually, and so I'm going to show you guys how I'm preparing for this 5v5 season, and hopefully, if you don't have any of the teams here, well, if you don't have many, I hope you have some of them, but if you don't have many of them, start thinking along the lines of how can you get to where I'm at. We're going to talk a little bit about datacrons as well, because that's part of the strategy, and it's part of the landscape of GAC, frankly, folks. We can't play GAC without at least paying at least a little attention to datacrons, and therefore, we're going to talk about that. I'll show you my 2 GLs, show you how I split my comps quite a bit, and how we counter all the different Galactic Legends. It's a full video on offense and defense. I'll try to indicate whether it's offense or defense, but this isn't going to be like a video series or anything. I mean, I'll probably make one of these for 3v3 next season, etc. But one way or another, let's jump in and let's just start talking about teams, shall we, folks? Whoa, madness. They're the Jedi. We're in the game. Whoa. Alright, guys. So, first you'll note that most of my Jedi, except for Padme. Padme's not a Jedi, but she's part of the Galactic Republic, like part of the Jedi discussion, if you will. They all have Relic 5, because datacrons have been really kind to them lately, and now they've been abandoned by them. But I have 4 primary teams that we use Jedi on, and then we have General Skywalker, which is kind of separate because he does make a pretty good team on his own. Now, the way I split them is usually, I mean, I keep them all on offense, frankly. On this account, I keep the greater preponderance of my teams on offense, because I need to make sure I can beat all the teams, and the players that I'm facing are usually about 2 million more GP than me, which is a pretty big deal at this level, especially when I'm already down. I mean, I've faced people with lower GP than me with all 6 Galactic Legends, and I only have 2. I win quite a bit, though, and I beat those players a lot, too, because I have a more robust, fleshed-out roster. And part of that is I'm able to be very flexible with my Jedi. So on my main account, you saw that I had a Qui-Gon team that I keep on defense, and it does really good. I get a lot of holds there. It even beats General Skywalker. It's very strong. However, on offense, in this account, I don't have as many Jedi. And frankly, I really need Ki-Adi-Mundi for a little extra muscle, because I just don't have relics available. And so what we've got here, we've got the Qui-Gon team with Anakin. That's almost kind of the foundation, just because this team doesn't do a whole lot, but you can also add Ki-Adi-Mundi to this whenever you want. I can't believe I put Juhani here. We'll see how many people are actually listening. If they comment in the comments saying like, hey, you shouldn't have a non-Galactic Republic Jedi in here, they are correct, but they were also probably not listening, so it can be our inside joke, folks. This should not be in here. Galactic Republic only, not Old Republic. Galactic Republic, not New Republic, not Far in the Future Republic, not Banana Republic, just good old-fashioned Grand Republic. No, not even that. Oh, whatever Republic there's in. I'm all turned around, guys. Galactic. Alright, so you can put Ki-Adi-Mundi here to give you a huge boost and be able to do more damage. But if you don't need it, well, So this team will take out a smaller team. Otherwise, they'll kill Qui-Gon Jinn, everyone will heal up, and then Anakin will do a big hit. You can boost the team by adding, Mace Windu. You can boost it by adding a tank, whatever you can spare from the rest. It's all based on your evaluation of the situation. So I keep that on offense just because it doesn't do much on defense. It'll just get ruined on defense by almost anything, including really bad batch. So first, we have Jedi Master Kenobi and Jedi Master Luke. They're going to be asked to take down some of the biggest opponents. Now, I don't know if they can kill Lord Vader. I don't think they can, in fact. And so, probably other teams other than that. If someone places Jabba and Lord Vader, it's going to be a really rough stream. We're going to have to multi-shot things. But the idea is Kenobi goes with Ahsoka. A lot of times you want Snips on the team as well because she assists so much. Kenobi also goes well here, but if you really don't care about taking a Datacron and you're doing like a mirror match, you can just take a weak Galactic Republic tank instead, and then you can use Kenobi somewhere else. Padme, you can swap out for any number of Jedi if you really wanted to. I really like her here, though, because she adds a little more survivability to my team because it has a few less relic levels than usual. We have Jedi Master Luke afterward, who the split between... So Kenobi, it's almost pretty clear-cut. Like, he wants Galactic Republic, and so does that Qui-Gon team. But then the non-Galactic Republic Jedi come into question, and you have characters like Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shaak-Ti, Yoda, kind of. He doesn't really love being on either of those teams, to be honest. And Mace Windu, who does love to be on that Kenobi team up top, if you want ability block or something. But the way I have been doing this, folks, is I split this so that we have Jedi Master Luke who can take out a Rey team. And I don't know what's going to happen with Ben Solo, so that's a totally different topic. Ben Solo, I have my doubts that even this Jedi Master Luke team can take it out once he has full Omicrons and is fully, integrated into the team. But right now, this team takes out any Rey team. Even without Datacrons, you take out Rey pretty easily. That leaves this Jedi Revan team with Jedi Luke to be able to take down like Supreme Leader Kylo. This works pretty well because Mace Windu actually has ability block, and he gives you a lot of cool abilities that you didn't have before. He can he can't pass turns, I guess, because none of these others are Galactic Republic. But Mace goes really well with Kenobi too, because he can pass the turn to Cat. And Cat can pass the turn to him, so you can just swap turn meters. It's a way to get a lot of turns in. So he likes being on that team. If you have Old Ben here instead, that works. Old Ben can go with Starkiller, however, and a few other teams if you want. And so we have this team that kills Supreme Leader Kylo. It can challenge a lot of other teams, clean up a lot of other Galactic Legends. This team is a workhorse in terms of, it can kill almost anything except for some of the Galactic Legends, no, but it can clean up most of them anyways. So very well-rounded team, goes really nicely hand in hand with this Jedi Master Luke team. Now if you need to combine them to kill a Jedi Master Kenobi team, then you have to do that, and then you have to make a different weirdo team with Basti lead, and that's always awkward. So the Jedi, I just like to have them all available for offense. General Skywalker, on the other hand, with the 501st, they make a good defensive team. A lot of times people will take it out with Commander Luke or something, but if they could take it out with Luke, they could take it out with a few different teams. The Inquisition can do it. If you make your Rex fast enough, then you'll scare off Inquisition a lot of times. If you make your Rex, he has to be ruinously fast. He has to be 320 something speed. So I don't necessarily propose you do that because we all have limited mods. I'm only a 309, so probably any really good Inquisition team can beat me. But if people don't spare the mods for Grand Inquisitor, then should be in luck. This team is just not good on offense, frankly. It's good, it just drops a lot of banners. So this is the team that I like to put on defense. More relics would be nice, but I can't even afford relic 7 on Skywalker, dear lord. Alright, so here's a team that this is a weird split, guys. So Dash Rendar, a lot of people are putting Dash with Rey to take out Lord Vader. I don't have Rey, so if you have Rey, then take Rey with Dash, take out Lord Vader the Great. Because this season especially, the key to the season, really. If you're facing all the Galactic Legends, people are going to be placing Lord Vader pretty consistently. That's going to happen. And you have to have a plan to be able to take out Lord Vader. This team on its own, against a weak Lord Vader, it can actually just beat it straight up. You could maybe take like Bando from this other team, just borrow him, throw him in here, toss out like young Lando or something, and add a little bit more survivability. But it'll take down a weak Lord Vader, or it might just take down the ads, and then you can finish it off with like bounty hunters or something. And that's kind of the weird split. Last season, we relied pretty heavily on a Fennec lead Beskar Mando team to be able to take out Lord Vader teams. I was in 3v3. It doesn't work as well in 5s. And so you want Dash to be able to... so he has the Datacron. That's just unavoidable. But if you don't have the Datacron, this team actually, surprisingly, still kills Jedi Master Luke if you have the Omicron. If you have his Omicron in GAC, this will take out a Jedi Master Luke team. Even without the Omicron, it can sometimes take out a Jedi Master Luke because of that Vander Chewie consistently reviving. You just have to make sure Vander Chewie has his protection or bonus protection. However, he gets his prepared again. Much easier when you just have the Dash Cron so that he consistently has prepared. But you need to protect Vander Chewie, so Young Lando's here to make him hide with his special, and then IG and Queel, Queel, or IG has the pre-taunt and everything as long as he was with Queel, and then he taunts consistently. It's a pretty good team. Dash just spams. He takes a ton of turns. If you want to mod him right, you probably, for this Datacron, I haven't modded him correctly on this account, but just pure offense. He doesn't care about speed because he's going every turn your opponent goes. So this team is really good. It's going to take out a Galactic Legend for me, most likely, or maybe it'll help me multi-shot. So, like, maybe I'll, if I feel like I need to, I can attack a Lord Vader team, kill all the ads, and then send in a Beskar Mando team to take out the rest. Or we could do something else. I'll show you guys in a little bit. We could do that. We could also, so remember, we're going for flexibility here, right? And I'm taking my time, my sweet time, but I want to explain all this to you guys. So the other option is, if you don't want to kill Lord Vader with this, then this team can actually, you can use like Aura Sing lead if you wanted to, to be able to snipe someone out. You can use Bosk lead. Whatever you do, as long as you have everything set up. And Bam doesn't actually have to be here. He doesn't have to be here. He can be elsewhere. You can also take Dash with a diminished team without IG and Queel so that they can go with Bam. If Bam wants to go his happy way, you can have Bosk lead, and you can be able to, with Aura, and if you do all the clocking, you guys can watch my videos on, Faction Essentials, Bounty Hunters. Check my Faction Essentials series, guys, if you haven't yet. You can learn how to use a lot of these teams, but if you're not going to use this team to try taking out a Lord Vader squad, which is going to be tough, honestly, especially, you can't do it with a Relic 1 Mando, and I can't get him to 5. I'm totally tapped out. I have overdone myself on relics this time. I am just completely out of resources. So, this Fennec team, pretty good. Works pretty well against Lord Vader. Otherwise, you just want like Bosk lead or Aura lead. Take something out, to put Bando somewhere else. Like, if you need to take out Iden, for instance, you can take this Bando team with IG and Queel, and then Bo-Katan and Cara Dune. Cara Dune is a little bit low gear, and of course you can't use your Datacron if you have a Gear 12 Cara Dune. However, against an Iden team on defense, they're going to be around a lot because they have Grit, the Grit Cron, and you're not going to be able to trust your Wampa that much against the Grit Cron, I think. Though we'll have to see. The awesome thing about Cara Dune here is she gives an auto stun to Imperials. Any Imperials it hits, it just stuns them automatically. No, they can't resist, they can't do anything, it's just instant stun. Bo-Katan gives them daze, and they also focus on Bo-Katan, so you can they'll shoot Bo-Katan, and then you'll be able to hopefully instantly trigger your bonus turn to be able to save Bo-Katan. It's pretty nice. This is a pretty decent team, honestly, to be able to take out a lot of squads. Not just Iden, but this is probably my favorite. It also takes down squads that really don't want you to permanently kill them, like Night Sisters, Also, teams that rely on stealth, like Dooku. Remember, Bando can target when he's gone through his poop stance, when he's ready to do his whistling birds. He can. Is that what kids are calling it these days? Come on, buddy, do whistling birds. No, he's able to target people in stealth. Keep that in mind. It can target past taunt and in stealth. Like Dooku teams specifically is what I highly admire his ability to just snipe them out. You can also dig out Grievous teams sometimes. It's kind of fun. Now, that leaves this Commander Luke team. Now, in the past, sometimes I've actually split this team up and put like Chewie and Han with Dash or whatever. Right now, with the current Datacron situation, if you have the good Datacrons, then probably Han and Chewie just hang out with the Commander Luke team for now. I mean, splitting them up can work, it's kind of fun, but this team is a workhorse team. It always gets used. There's always something they can do well, and being able to snipe first, like in this day and age of really fast teams, Han Solo being able to snipe the character of his choice, or just at least stun them right away, is really clutch. Sometimes you might need Han for this eccentric trooper team that I'm going to show you in a while, but this is the really core, really basic Commander Luke team. Just get them all to, get Luke to Relic 7, guys. Don't be like me. Get him to 7. Alright, so Mon Mothma now. If you use Cara Dune up here with the Bando team, then you're probably going to want to put like Biston in, honestly. Or like Scarif Rebel Pathfinder might work if he's high relic. You kind of want to tank a little bit, or Biston really adds a lot to the turn meter madness on this team. But this team does really well. It's also a workhorse. I'm going to miss that Mon Mothma a Datacron, but otherwise Kyle Katarn really makes this team really fast. And I mean, this team will take out a lot of teams like Bando teams. It'll take out teams like Night Sisters, take out teams, just lots of teams, guys. This is a really resilient team. Now, unfortunately, I wish I had more gear. It's not unfortunate that I wish I had more gear. This is a very squishy team, so I keep it on offense. People like to put it on defense, and then it gets countered by a lot of really sad things. Now, in lower brackets, this team does really well. On higher brackets, this team gets killed for max banners pretty consistently, or if someone gets desperate and they have a big enough account, they can just use Jawas to get poor banners, but they'll just explode this team really easily. So as you'll see, as you continue to progress further along in the brackets, this team gets less and less holds. However, it can just stone, like sometimes it's just like, oh, you can't actually clear me because you can't beat Mothma. Like, sometimes that happens, guys. Now, I just got Admiral Raddus up to relics. He's not to relic 9 yet, but a lot of us will have most of a Raddus team AdRad team if we're working on the Profundity, which I think most people should be doing. And so this is not the optimal team, but this is the team that we've kind of been given, right? So like Scarif Rebel Pathfinder obviously is the odd man out. He's not required for anything, and his gear is prohibitive. However, if you've been working on him with Biston, he can work. You don't necessarily need a Datacron, at least not this set, not this time around. And so Scarif Rebel Pathfinder can kind of just hang out, even at lower relics. I think the optimized team would be K2SO and Baze. Those two right here. The other three are part of the Raddus requirements, and so I think those are great. Make sure you're putting all the Zetas and Omegas on them. They're all amazing, actually, guys. I guess you don't have to put the leadership Zeta on Jin, but otherwise, yeah, Biston and Scarif Rebel Pathfinder probably not optimized, but Biston is also part of the requirements, so he's already built in, kind of. He has all the synergies with the team, and then you really do want a tank. And the thing is, even if you put a bad tank in, keep in mind, Jin is going to revive him sometimes, and so is AdRad. And so at the end of the day, you can put him on defense. Especially at lower levels, people are going to struggle to deal with them. At higher levels, it gets countered by quite a bit, like Bad Batch or Grievous. Just make sure that you're putting them in a place that if you're scouting your opponent, you're like, oh, well, they use Grievous on this squad, so put a team up front, have them use Grievous, and then when they get back, they won't have that team. Or same with Bad Batch, etc. Try to bait someone out. Otherwise, I mean, this team does okay on offense. It'll take out an Iden team sometimes, depending on how high relics and stuff, just because of it just perma-days on Iden really just strangles that team pretty nicely. Now, I don't have Lord Vader, and so I think Lord Vader with Maul this season, it's gonna be good. It will be good. It'll be significantly easier to kill Lord Vader teams that don't have Maul. But I don't have Lord Vader, so I'm left trying to figure out what I want to do with Maul. And I'm left in this weird situation where it's like, I mean, on defense, he'll trip some people up, but a lot of people by now know how to beat it. And I'm going to need Watt on offense quite a bit because I'm going to need him to help fuel my Troopers team that I'm going to show you guys. And so Watt goes here because he gets the first turn. He can do a special. Maul gets his first turn. He does his AoE to get him up to 5 Anguish stacks. Then Canderous assists a bunch of times. Everyone else assists a bunch of times, and because of Canderous's bug, he gets so much turn meter, and this is a bug that's been built into him from day one, and CG's just never done anything, so it's not so much of a bug. The bigger bug for him is, honestly, his kit needs to be made to match what he actually does. He gains so much turn meter based off of assists that he's going to take the next turn, even if he's relatively slow. He gains so much turn meter, he just goes next. He does his special. Maul gets to go and unload. A lot of times this team is good enough to take out like a General Skywalker team, or at least a weaker General Skywalker team, very smoothly. Takes out a ton of teams, and if you put the weapons tech on Maul, you can do things like kill, like if you can finish off, do a finishing blow with Maul himself, he'll kill like a full Mothra squad because she can't revive any of her people that he kills when he has the weapons tech. And so this team works really well. Of course, this is all contingent on you having Watt available. Bo-Katan isn't absolutely necessary, but she's nice for banner recovery, and but she can go with that BAM team up top. You don't need to take this team on offense, but it is nice for it on offense. Sometimes you could put it on defense. It would have been nice to have the turn meter crons just to make Bo-Katan a little faster this time around, but this works. This works on offense. It takes out a lot. It also take out a lot of like Jedi Master Luke teams. Actually, if they don't have Barriss, you're good to go. If they have, I mean, there's a few different teams that it does really well against. So yeah, this does well. It's fun. It's cool. It's pretty sweet. This General Grievous team. So there's a couple different variants for this Grievous team, and I'm just showing you because this is another decision point you have to make. So if you want to do an off meta against like a Starkiller team, like the standard Starkiller team, you want BB-8 because BB-8 gives you a bunch of turn meter. You also want your Grievous to keep a lot of health but also be pretty fast, so then Grievous is able to gain 40% turn meter, and after you do the math of that 40% turn meter, if you can be faster than your opponent's Mara Jade, you have a chance of just taking a ton of turns before Starkiller team takes even one. And if that's the case, then you'll usually take them out. Usually you'll lose BB-8, you won't get necessarily nice banners. If they have Barriss in there, if they have General Kenobi, it can really be a hitch in their fight, but this team can beat a lot of those Starkiller teams. However, if you want to take out a Commander Luke team, you really want Newt Gunray instead, because even with these low relics, I mean, it's not even relics, it's just purple border. But what happens is Han, he gets his shot first, and he usually targets Newt because everyone else is stealth besides Magna Guard, and usually likes to shoot Newt. Newt dies, but he comes back and in stealth, and Grievous gets an immediate turn, and you're off to the races. This team is far superior to countering Commander Luke teams than the BB-8 version because you don't go first with BB-8. Because Han just goes first anyways, and a lot of times he'll target BB-8, and your whole team will just be real sad. So, not that either of these teams can't beat one of the other, they're two optimized things, and BB-8 usually has other places he wants to go. I don't have a sortie team listed here, but if I did, BB-8 would be a great candidate for that, or this Jedi Training Rey team, which you're going to have to figure out. Jedi Training Rey with the Hero Bros, that's great. R2-D2 is wonderful. He could go with the Galactic Republic stuff up top as well if you wanted to. Though with BB-8 and R2-D2, really nice tandem because BB-8 then starts with 16% turn meter. And if you make your BB-8 kind of fast, then BB-8 and R2-D2. Remember, R2-D2 can actually go first. If you make him faster, then he'll go first. Like 16% turn meter gain for both droids. So R2-D2 will surprise some people sometimes. And then the Hero Bros, mine are not well geared. You probably do want them relicked at some point, even if you're not going for Rey. I just haven't had time to gear them. They require like the exact same gear. It's obnoxious as hell. It's a very good team. I put them on defense sometimes. And by the way, don't put Grievous on defense, guy. Well, if you're a higher level, then don't. If you're like in Bronzium or Chromium, whatever, Rhodium, Grievous can get some holds, but this Jedi Training Raid team, I'll usually put it on defense and not expect it to get many holds. Sometimes it'll surprise you though. The Hero Bros can hit way harder than it looks like just because the power of the expose from the leadership really propels the team. If they can get their feet under them, it can really mess with people. So getting a fast BB-8 is pretty key to getting the whole turn meter train started, even on defense. This team can do pretty well. This is one candidate for my Ben Solo squad, though I don't think I'm going to do that. Now, this Malgus team, I know a lot of people watching this might not have Malgus. If you don't, then you're screwed. No, you'd probably just want to do Darth Revan lead. Frankly, if you have Malgus right now and you have the Datacron, put it on defense. I mean, there's not much reason not to do that right now for one more season. And let's see, otherwise... Oh, hold on. Sorry about that pause there, guys. Something weird with my music, and then the video didn't pause, so you get an awkward moment of me just staring into space. My apologies. I'll see if I can cut it out, but I don't know if I have time before we publish this. So, Malgus is really good on defense, honestly. I mean, he's a galactic legend on defense if you have the Datacron. I don't know how he's gonna be. After his Datacron is gone, we'll have to find out what his other specials do. But right now he just spams his special, and that's enough to just eat galactic legends. This team, in 3s, in 5s, it eats galactic legends pretty well if people aren't like prepared to do it. Malgus at Relic 9 is a really great candidate, folks. Also, I mean, obviously my alt doesn't have that, but it's pretty good. Darth Revan, you want him to be a little bit fast so he can fear the whole team. This team is good on defense. It can also, I mean, I would just not recommend splitting up Malgus and Darth Revan, because Darth Revan can go off and, you're tempted to go off and do fun stuff, but unless you have a ton of really good, compelling Sith to go with Malgus, I just recommend the whole team here for defense, folks. And without Malgus, even still, Darth Revan, just make sure that if you have Talon in there, make sure your Darth Revan's really fast so that it really makes it so that troopers don't want to do anything with it, and you should be good to go still. Wampa just kills stuff. I mean, the thing is, in lower levels, he's going to kill every single match. The higher you get, the more he's going to be relegated to like, oh, sometimes I get max banners, and that's wonderful, and sometimes I just get to stay there and hope that someone fails, and then you don't hope that they fail, but you know what I mean. He just wants to. Wampas just want to have fun. Don't worry, I didn't sing it, folks. I'm not going to either. I'm not going to break into spontaneous song or anything. However, he is really good. Sometimes he does make me want to break into song because he does some really cool stuff. Also, keep in mind, he is not just he's not like your panacea for Sith Eternal Emperor problems. If you have Sith Eternal Emperor that you're facing, and you're like, oh man, Wampa will just kill every single version, that is honestly false. It is crazy false. Like it works sometimes. You guys have probably seen a couple big YouTubers use that team a lot to good effect, and it works sometimes. And a lot of times you'll see those same YouTubers use a different counter to Sith Eternal because Wampa doesn't work there. If he works every time on Sith Eternal, they would use Wampa for max banners. So keep that in mind, folks. Wampa isn't your cure-all. Wampa has to watch out for a lot of things, and in the increasingly complex GAC landscape, he's going to have fewer and fewer teams to be able to beat. If you have a really good opponent, they're going to be able to just block Wampa entirely from being able to do anything other than clean up. So keep that in mind. He also doesn't do well against Adrad. He seems like he should, but he doesn't. He also struggles against Mon Mothma teams, in fact. Again, against what you kind of assume. Alright, so now we have this weird split here of Starkiller and Palpatine. So I have a bunch of the cooldown, the Empire cooldown datacrons, and so we could probably use, like, I don't have enough Empire to really send Vader in, like, as a vehicle to send him in to be able to take out a lot of teams. Like, he can take out Galactic Legends on his own. He really can, but with his datacron, but you really do need him to have some kind of vehicle a lot of times to get in there. So Starkiller might work. The traditional team of EP and Mara works really nicely there as well. However, they want their own datacron, and you can see I don't have all the relics on these teams. Like, I'm gonna have to get a little bit creative on some of these. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but the fact is, Vader with the right apparatus can take out a lot of Galactic Legends, and so can EP Mara, to be honest. You just need the right things. Remember, Tarkin can help you. A lot of you have Relic Tarkin, in fact, because you used him to unlock a Galactic Legend. This account hasn't, because we only have 2. My Thrawn is only Relic 0 right now. I actually just rolled the TIE Fighter pilot bonus cron. So who knows? I might get him up to 7 by the end of this season. I'm not sure. But one way or another, these two are going to be mixed and matched a lot this season. EP Mara might end up with Starkiller, to be honest. And then I could put Jedi Training Rey with Visas, or instead of Visas, find some kind of Relic 5 for the Starkiller. And then I'd be able to use the Kron, the cooldown Kron, and then we could find some vehicle for Vader to get in, to be able to use his own and take out a GL on his own. Just not sure. Right now, I just don't have a good way to get Vader in while still using Starkiller to his max. So, kind of a weird spot to be in right now for this account, but I'm convinced that we're going to be able to, I've got to be flexible. I would recommend keeping these teams for offense, though, especially if you're kind of limited the way I am. Now, we have the Imperial Troopers teams, which work really well. You can see it's a tale of two parts of Troopers. So I got my Veers up to Relic 5, so we could have a Datacron. Dark Trooper up to 7, so we can punch really hard. Remember, going up from 5 to 7 gets you almost 2,000 offense. It's very, very worthwhile for him in that context. He needs all the offense he can get if you have him modded correctly. Piet really wants, he needs to be 8 for Executor anyways. And then, I've been working on range. Can you believe that this constitutes me having worked on him? Can you imagine what... The thing is, he's been Relic 8, or Gear 8 for a long time, and he's still... This whole team just takes out a lot of teams as long as you can get the turn meter train running. However, I'm doing something weird with my mods this time, and Piet's just not going to be very fast, unfortunately. He is just... This team is not going to be taking out the teams that I want it to a lot, because I'm going to be using this team to take out Lord Vader squads sometimes. And this is the team that I've been working on, trying to make it work. Now, I'm not going to break it down for you right now. I'm not going to do a how-to guide, unfortunately. Unfortunately for you. But the gist of it is, folks, that against Lord Vader, you can't really go faster than Lord Vader. However, with the Grit Cron, right now, you can get an extra 10% turn meter. If you start with Watt, he gives your whole team another 20% turn meter, because if he does a basic right away, he gives everyone 2 heals over time, which are buffs, which give you more turn meter. Veers obviously gives you 20 speed, so you want Iden to go first, and then she cleanses you once Lord Vader goes, does their Force Crush, and then you're off to the races. We'll see if this ends up working. I've tested it in Arena, and you have to be pretty cagey. It's a little bit sketch, so if someone places Lord Vader, we'll see. I'll have to... I can't really outline all the things, because sometimes you don't take Watt. Instead, you take Han, which sounds crazy, but it does work. I'll just stay tuned, folks. Testing in Arena is weird because most teams have like Piet in them and Darth Vader and and Maul. A lot of people put Maul there, but We'll see. See, we'll watch my streams. We're gonna do this, guys. We're gonna test this team. But if I don't have to use this team, then I can use Iden and company, without a Datacron, obviously, to be able to take down a lot of different squads, just because she hits like a truck, and they all kind of just support her, and, you know, they go as Iden goes. Nest, so sometimes you can solo things with Nest, especially in the lower levels, if you have relics. Now, if you have the Gridcron for smugglers, Nest becomes a monster, because all her protection gets folded into her health as well, and then she still has crazy health steal. And just keep in mind, if you have the Gridcron with Nest, you can't put it on while you have a low gear Kira. You need Relic 5 on Kira, or what I'm going to end up doing is just use Nest on her own. She ended up getting 3 really nice solos in 3v3. I don't know what the landscape's going to look like in 5v5. She might not end up getting anything. She might get folded into a dash team. She might get put in on defense. I'm just not sure, but one way or another, Nest with the Gridcron is very nice in certain circumstances. You should probably look into it if you can. Now, I have this pretty wretched First Order team, and honestly, it could do okay on offense, probably, just because Hux can stop people from getting turn meter if you have a full First Order team. You can't just like randomly insert Nest here, because he will stop blocking turn meter gains. But this team I put on defense because it messes with people sometimes. Sometimes people don't know how to deal with it. I expect it to get just totally destroyed most times, but I like crew lead just because it gives extra speed, and so if you can make crew reasonably fast, you can kind of mess with people. You can also take out this one of these 2 end characters and put your OG Kylo if he's not like on a Starkiller team or something like I've been doing. Now, I like the Akbar team in 3v3 a lot more, but in 5v5 it expands to do some okay things. So you really want something that can dispel. So that's why I have Chopper. You can get out of that taunt pretty well. Stormtrooper Han is like, he's so happy with an Omicron Akbar team. Now, if you don't have the Omicron on Akbar, this team is garbage. It's just total hot garbage. You don't put it on defense either, because Nest will just come and take it away from you. Just totally eat it. Really, just eat its lunch. It's quite disgusting. And then, you know, Princess Leia, you need her to be pretty quick so that she can go first if possible. I mean, in some ways, it's nice we lost that turn meter Kron, because now we can add disreputable sources like Chopper back into the mix. You can also add like Rolo, you know, Captain Han Solo. You can, you know, any rebel, really. I mean, like Ezra goes really well here, for instance. So I like my nice sisters without much gear. Like, old Daka should have more gear on her, frankly, but this team, even in 3s, kills General Grievous almost every time. In 5s, you have to look out. They have a much lower win rate against, like, Newt builds, but otherwise, this team does really well against General Grievous, against a lot of stuff. Gear 10 on the zombie, and then higher gear on Daka, and everyone else can be really low, including Asajj. Asajj you need, of course, for the General Skywalker unlock, so a lot of people have her relic, but, I mean, you don't need Datacrons. This team is just, it's pretty good. Geos, I don't know, I put them on defense a lot, guys, because people just beat them, they destroy them, but I don't need them, and I don't have them relicked. If you have them relicked, then you can probably get some use out of the Geo Brood Alpha. On my main account, you guys saw me use the Brood Alpha with, like, Sith Eternal, Brood Alpha, and Sunfact, but that's just because I have some decent relics on them. The rest of the team, I mean, what are they? I mean, if I put relics on them, I'm just in a weird place with them. If you put relics on them, and they're still worthless, they'll still just ride the bench. So I put them on defense because I'm playing efficiency, and this is a team that has traditionally held some people up, and it can mess with some people. Keep in mind, though, some people are going. It might actually help if, like, people are going to be like, "Ooh, I can definitely kill him with Vader now," and you're like, "Yeah, you totally can." And then hopefully you can bait them out of being able to use Vader on something more important. So you could do something like that, or you could just have them patiently await death like mine. Now, on offense, I keep my Bad Batch pretty consistently. They work. They especially in 5s. Tech gets plus 10 speed because he has 5 total Bad Batch on his team, and his Zeta gives him that. And as long as you have a fast Echo, if you need your Echo to go first, and then you need that speed, if he dispels buffs, he gives 5% turn meter for every buff to all of his guys. If Tech is the next one who's fastest, he can, if as long as he can bridge, then Echo will go, Tech will stun everyone, like load him up with potency, and then once he stuns everyone, the game is afoot, and you can just run the tables, and a lot of times people won't even get another turn. This works against even General Grievous teams, it'll work against almost every First Order team, it'll work against a bad Qui-Gon Jinn team, even a good Qui-Gon Jinn team if your Echo is faster, but if it's good enough, they're going to make sure that your Echo can't be faster. One thing to do if you have a faster Echo, or a faster and better geared team, is you could potentially take Omega out and put Shock T in her place, and then if there is a team that you're facing that does go first, Shock T gains turn meter whenever a clone or herself is hit. She'll immediately get a turn. She can pass the full turn to Echo, and then Echo's gonna just be able to start the turn meter train and get everything going. And most likely your opponents are gonna have a bunch of buffs out if they got to go first. He can dispel them, his whole team goes first, and you're off to the races once again. Shock T works really well there. I don't like that. I don't like doing that with this team because they're so low gear that sometimes they just get shut off the board before Shock T can even take a turn. And so, it's up to you. Also, if you take Shock, then you don't get the pre-taunt on Wrecker, which is pretty sad. Omega helps with that. Omega helps with a lot more than you guys think, actually, folks. I have Ewoks. I kind of regret them. They have their Omicron, so I put them on defense. Give them a fast pet blue, and stop caring about your Ewoks and start wondering if CG will ever give their Omicron back so that you can actually put it on someone worthwhile. We have Traya, and this team is not great. The only reason I put Sith Empire Trooper and Marauder here are just because they might be able to take a few hits before. We just want to protect Nihilus, guys. Just protect Nihilus. I need more gear on this team, but this team actually does some pretty good work. The more relics you have, the better, but I'm a hypocrite, and don't ever put relics on this team because I just haven't had the time. I'm 4 GLs behind. Give me a break. And then I guess I do have a sortie squad, guys. This team would be much better with BB-8. But as it stands, like without this high gear level, sortie is good on defense. Just keep in mind that sometimes it gets eaten by Wampa, and that's a sad thing. If you can make your sortie really, really healthy, some people will time out on your sortie, and that will make you feel nice. That being said, folks, those are the kind of the core teams that I think you guys should be working out. You should be looking at. Those are the splits that I'm planning on. I have a few different plans for Lord Vader, depending on what kind of comp that I'm facing and stuff. You'll have to watch my videos, or you can watch me live. There's a Twitch link in the video description. I don't have too many ads or anything compared to a lot of streamers. You guys can come and watch me, hang out, and just chill, ask questions. It's fun times. Obviously, my main, I play a little bit differently. You can watch those videos that I put out a couple days ago. But I hope this was a good overview of like kind of my plans and how I'm planning to attack things. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth loses sleep to make videos for you. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.